Zakia, where you at? Where you at? Zakia,
That's me.
Zakia.
That's me.
Zakia.
Yeah, that's me. What's up, Kia Bia gang, and welcome to Zakia Chanel Podcast. This isn't just a regular podcast. It's a place where we can let down our guards and be our authentic selves. So let's talk about it. The real, the tough, and the funny conversations. At the end of each episode, I want you to walk away feeling better than you did at the start. All right, enough of me talking. Breathe in, breathe out. Now let's get into the episode.
Okay, you said you gotta do this with the wine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey guys. You're so funny. This wine is really good though.
All right.
Okay.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Zakia Chanel Podcast. We are here for episode 5, y'all. Woo! We
Okay.
almost into January, and we're going to continue with the episodes. If you're new, welcome. You're just joining the Kia Bia gang, the best gang, and your favorite girl, the best Detroit podcaster ever alive, you know. Anyway, as you can see, I have a lovely guest with me today for this episode, my best friend for 10 plus years that is right here with me. So I thought, to bring her along for this podcast episode. So welcome, Tony.
Hi. Thank you.
So yeah, y'all, let's go ahead and get straight into the episode. Y'all can see, your girl got some wine. We cheering. Cheers. Okay. Yeah, that's that good wine,
And it's really sweet.
Ask me about the
Really
wine, I
sweet.
get y'all straight.
Okay.
Anyway, as y'all know, or if you don't know, we start with our praise break. So before we get into the episode, we're going to start with our praise break for this one. And just saying what's been good, what's going on in your life that's been happy.
I
And
know, right?
that you like. So what's your praise break?
So my praise break, let's just start back from 2020. I'm just happy to be here. It has been a lot of tragedies, a lot of losses.
Very true.
So one thing I'm definitely grateful today is just to be here. Another thing that I'm grateful about is just to be able to go with my life lessons and be able to impact and teach other people. And I feel like within this year, from 2020 to now, I was able to grow and able to teach other people, whether I knew it or not. Just to heal them. I feel like I'm a healer in that situation too. So I'm just grateful to be that healing person. Okay, period.
That's good.
So definitely thankful for being a healer and all the failures and things that I went through, because without those, I wouldn't be who I am today. So.
And that's the episode. That's the episode. Okay, and this is why this is my best friend, y'all. All right, what's my praise break? I don't think I can top that. That was excellent. But I would just say my praise break is honestly, truly just getting through 2022, because it has been a crazy year. But also just I'm excited for what's coming, and I'm excited for, honestly, since I work with kids, I don't know, they've just been on my heart heavy like these past few weeks. So my praise break is to shout out to all my students that I work with. Like, I love them. That's what keep me just going every day. Yeah, like I love them. So my praise break is for dumb children. Yeah.
For real. But it's okay. I'm going to actually piggyback on that.
What?
The kids today are like so more advanced than we were. I feel like
sure.
The generations to come is going to be so totally different. Like, and I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because I'm a part of that as well. As a slight leader, I'm not doing as much as Zakia, but just to be able to be involved in the girls and just know that I'm an impact in their life as well is
It's mind blowing.
Yeah, you just never know that you not only are you helping them to develop, but you're developing yourself in other ways you never knew you could develop in. Yeah,
it's an awesome thing. We gotta have a whole like episode about that because it really is something like very different that people don't even expect or know. Hold on, y'all. I gotta charge my computer. You know, can't be going dead in here now.
No, ma'am. We need that to work.
Okay, so today episode, I think I'm going to call it Not Giving Up. I think that's what it's going to be called. But that's a little bit of what our topic is just going to be about, just like not giving up in life. So my last episode was just talking about like the different stages in life and the different things that we go through in each stage. Yeah. So I was just telling them about like the different stages that I feel like I'm in right now in life. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I feel that a lot of people around me, and I guess because a lot of people that I am around, we're all in like our mid-20s. Yeah. And so I feel like we're all in this stage of like the unknown, but it's not like a bad unknown. It's just us trying to figure out life and realizing that it's much more than what we ever like expected. Yes. But also it's like, where do we even supposed to be at right now, or are we where we supposed to be? Yeah. And so, do you feel like you're in an unknown stage?
You know, it's so funny that you asked me that, because as you're asking me that, I'm literally having flashbacks of like different experiences that I went through as of this year alone. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy. The Tony that I was, or Antonia, that's my original name. The Antonia that I was last year is totally different from who I am today. I'm totally different from who I was 2 weeks ago. Like I'm constantly growing. I definitely feel like I still living in the unknown because there's a lot of things that I'm still learning. But it's a lot of things that I've learned as well. And it's so funny that you said that as well, because I'm in a stage where I'm seeking out the true meaning of life. What is my true purpose? And in order for you to find out that truth, you have to know who you are. And I feel like a lot of people can say that, but don't know how to figure out who they are. But you got to understand that question it comes from within. If you don't ask yourself, you know, everything starts with thyself. You know, if you don't ask yourself who you are, everything that you need to know is within. Like, we have to go within to ask. So just ask yourself who you are. Continue to ask yourself, because you got to understand what you speak will come forward. Yeah. You know, so if you speak it out, you ask yourself that things going to start being revealed to you. And that's something that I went through. Like, I was having an identity crisis. Like, you know, I deleted all of my social media account, and it was only just so I can ground myself and figure out who is Antonia. What is my purpose here on earth? Yeah. And like, what is my life purpose? Is my life purpose for me, or is it for somebody else? Am I supposed to impact other people? And this year alone, I've learned so much. It's still so much that I'm learning. I want to say like I know everything, because I don't. Mm-hmm. And so much that I'm unfolding and learning. But it was so much that I needed to go through. I went through a lot of losses, not just financial losses. I feel like I lost myself spiritually for a minute, which I gained myself back. I lost family members that kind of like, you know, hindered my spirit a little bit, because it was going through a lot of grief. But without those challenges, I had to ask myself, like, you know, what can you do to keep moving forward? No matter, because life gonna keep happening. Life, you're gonna have things that's gonna be ups and downs, but that's the beauty about life. You know, you need the good and the bad in order to have that balance. Just like male and female, you need that balance. You know, and if you don't have you can't. You have to have the bad in order to get to the good. A lot of people are afraid to get to the bad, and that was my thing too. I was so afraid of facing the failure that I attracted the failure because I kept thinking it. So yeah, this year was very challenging when it comes to like what I thought I knew, because what I thought I knew, I didn't know at all.
Right. And like even what you were saying with like the whole identity thing, because that's like what I thought about of like just even like the unknown stage, or just like us in our 20s and everything. It's like we're going through like this identity thing, and it's kind of interesting because when I like reflect on when we were younger, like a lot of people always be like, oh, what do you want to be, what do you want to do, all of these different questions, and you know, we have a whole mindset of what we want to do. And don't get me wrong, some people actually achieve those things, and sometimes other people go a different way. But I feel like even when you achieve it or you go a different way in life, I feel like once you get into like your mid-20s, I feel like we all still hit that point where we're asking ourselves like, what are we doing in the world? Like, what is our life? Like, what is it? What's bigger than just us being here? And then it's just like, okay, what am I looking forward to in life? Like, what do I really want more than just a career, more than just like my 9 to 5 or my business? Like, what is it to life? And I think that's something that we all are starting to like think of in our 20s, and it's just like, wow, okay, so all these years before I was thinking about everything I'm gonna do, and I still hit this point in my life where I'm still asking these questions and still trying to find who I am, like you said, like spiritually, everything, because you do like gotta in a way start back over again.
And it's, you know, a lot of times we are afraid to start over. But you got to understand, you're not starting over. You're just starting from experience. And that's what I had to learn a hard way, too. In order, okay, just like in school, like you have to, if you don't study, sometimes you can study and still fail. But in order, you have to fail in order to figure out, well, what did I get wrong? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, a lot of people, you can see a lot of people would just fail and fail and fail. And at some point, they have this mindset in their mind that, oh, I'm just a failure. Yeah. So they give up. But you can't think like that, because the moment you tell yourself that you're a failure, you're going to continue to always be a failure. Life and death is literally in the power of the tongue. That is a true statement. When you start switching your words around, things are going to start coming to you, like the law of attraction. I really started to get into that as well, as more than anything, like manifestation, law of attraction. Only because it's like, you know, what's that saying? It's actually a song. God is able to do just what he said that he would do, according to the work that's within me. That is a true statement. You always hear people say, you know, God is within. So if God is within, that means that I have that power. God is giving me that power to achieve everything. And that power is mind, body, and soul. So if my mind is visually seeing what I want in life, no matter what challenges come my way, I have to get to what I'm seeing, because it's my higher self telling me that it's mine. Yeah. You know, and a lot of times, like, you know, a lot of people just feel like because of the circumstances or the cards that they were dealt with, this is their life. No. Like, life is literally a challenge, but you gotta, in a sense, it's a game.
Yeah, no, seriously.
You gotta learn how to play it.
Play it right. Yeah.
For real. And like, this year, when I say this was probably the most challenging year I've ever had, but the most, what's the word I'm using? It was the year that I was able.
Eye-opening?
Yes. It was very eye-opening. I'm actually really grateful for a lot of the things that I went through this year. I kept going through the same test, okay? And this is something I want to talk about, too. I kept going through the same test. And I don't want to talk about what the test was, but I kept going through the same test, okay? Financial test, okay? And I had to ask myself, well, what are you doing that you keep going through the same financial test?
Yeah, exactly.
And then once I got to the root of it, when I say I'm mentally in a better space financially when it comes to that, because I already knew what the root problem was. Sometimes you have to get to the root problem of a situation in order to move forward. And a lot of times, a lot of people will blame stuff on a lot of other stuff.
Other people,
other situations and circumstances for the reason why they're in that spot. Like, no, sometimes you got to go within. You can't keep blaming. The more you blame and not acknowledging the root problem, and 9 times out of 10, the root problem is you.
Right.
When you acknowledge that root problem of why you're stuck, why you're stagnant, then everything will fall into play. A lot of times we don't want to go within because it's trauma. It's trapped trauma in the back of our mind that we don't want to reopen. But you have to reopen it because it's not healed. Yeah. If you haven't healed, for all you did was put a Band-Aid over.
Right there.
Yes, all you did was put a Band-Aid over it and covered it up and just went on by the day instead of actually stitching that wound up, figuring out what was wrong with it, actually letting it heal, not touching it, not picking with it. So this year has been challenging, but like I said, grateful for it.
Yeah.
Definitely in a time where I'm able to reflect on myself and be able to help other people as well, like help them understand like what may be going on in their life as well. I'm not an expert at it, but
I mean, anything is better than nothing. But you had touched on 2 things. So before I even get to the part of you talking about like the root of stuff, you had talked about like, you know, the power of our tongue and, you know, just even like manifestation. I think like people don't understand that, or sometimes like we run away from the word manifesting because we don't really understand fully what it means and stuff. But in all like simpleness, you know, I was reading a scripture and I can't remember, it's like John something, but it was just even talking about like when you talk about like within, it was just saying like, you know, you can read the word of God, but also while God is in you, you have to be able to read the word and not just read the word just to read it, but understand it and live by it like each and every day. And like I think that God was saying like that's the first way of like manifesting things in your life, because you can just say one simple thing or just reading like one scripture, reading something in the Bible, and in a way when you speak it, you say, okay, God, like I'm attaching myself with you, and so when I'm attached myself with you, then I'm going to follow through with everything, or I know everything that's going on in life.
Yes,
it's connected to you. It's not just because it is random.
And a lot of people don't understand that you have to be connected with a higher source.
Yeah.
In order to achieve those goals, a lot of times I'm trying to make this make sense. A lot of times we try to detach ourselves from our higher self. And where I'm trying to go with that? Like, okay, what's a perfect example? We stay on our phones all day. Eventually, that juice to that battery on that phone is going to die.
Yeah.
So we have to keep charging ourselves up, going within. A lot of times, a lot of people don't like to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, it's cool to have a lot of friends and be around a lot of people in their mind, but you have to understand, at some point, you have to sit down with thyself. In order to clearly see your vision, clearly see and get to know who you are, you have to sit by yourself. You have to recharge yourself. In order to sit by yourself, you have to recharge yourself. Mm-hmm. You can't sit there and be on the phone all day
and expect you to just be there at the end.
No, you have to take time to let me sit it down so it can charge, get its juice, let it reboot, and then I can play with it later.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we work as well. We can't just expect for us to run, give our time to other people, fill other people's cups up, and not pour into our own. Mm-hmm. You get to pouring yourself into other things, other people, anything that's not involved with you and your purpose, you're going to eventually drain out. And that's something I had to learn at the hard way, too. I feel like I gave a lot of my time, a lot of my energy to things and people that did not deserve my energy.
Or did not refill you back up.
Didn't refill me up. Like they was an energy leech. Like,
mm-hmm.
What is it called? Energy vampire. That's a good one. Like, they were literally sucking me dry to the point where I literally needed to shut down. Let me just start back. My car had broke down, and I was so frustrated. Like, dang, my car keep breaking down, not knowing that I needed my car to break down. It took $4,000 to get my car out the shop, which is money I didn't have. So now I had no choice but to sit down and try to figure out, okay, well, how to get my financial situation right. So the next time a situation like this happens, I
know how to handle it.
I know how to handle it. I was given a lot of my I call it my car time, letting other people use my car or ripping and running people around, to the point where when I was in a situation where I needed them,
nobody was there.
Mm-hmm. And I was just left to figure out dang, now I need somebody to pour into me. Who can I pour into? Who can pour into me? So now as I look back, I needed to go through what I needed to go through. I needed to see who I can depend on and who I couldn't depend on. And I also needed to just take that time to heal. And that's what I didn't know I needed. A lot of times we wanting a lot of stuff and not understanding that we need to heal. A lot of times we need to heal from a lot of childhood trauma. And I don't care what nobody says. I feel like a lot of us in some way, shape, or form got childhood trauma, whether it was in your home, whether you was bullied in school.
Or whether you even know it or not.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot of us, thank God, I am fortunate to have both my parents in the household, but I know a lot of people that wasn't fortunate to have a lot of parents in the household, but I still had other trauma from being bullied in school because I didn't know a lot of stuff. But not knowing that a lot of the stuff that I went through was a part of my story today. Yeah. I needed that to happen so I can know who I am today. And I always tell myself, I do know my higher self in some way, shape, or form. I'm a healer in some type of way. I needed to go through a lot of the challenges, the heartbreak, the emotional damage is what I call it, in order for me to let me heal with this so I can help somebody else, because believe it or not, it's a lot of, when you're in a dark place, you only see your dark side. Mm-hmm. You don't see what other people are going through. And it took me to heal from my dark space and realize hey, you're not the only one to go through this. How can you take what you went through and help someone else out of that situation? Or just talk to them, be a friend, just be an open and listening ear. Sometimes I can't help you financially, but I can give you the best advice ever.
Sometimes that'd be way more than what somebody even expect. But I feel like also, even when you were just talking about sitting there alone or taking time out to understand what's going on, I think that a big thing is also a lot of people just don't know. They don't know how to even start to just sit down by themselves, or what they should do when they're in that place. do I just sit here? Do I supposed to start writing? Do I supposed to start listening to sermons or listening to somebody talk? Like, and I think that that's something that we have to start helping each other out with. That, you know, a lot of times people don't even talk or speak of, but it's like, that's real. And if we gonna really face the whole thing of your trauma and what you went through in life, you know, we have to talk about how you can actually get through it, because it's one thing for somebody. I'm pretty sure a lot of people may have a sense of this was a trauma. Yeah. But it's like, I'm not ready to face it because I don't know what to do to heal myself, or I don't even know what to do to even get through it. So I'd rather just not even call it a trauma, or I might not even say that this is a thing. So I'm just going to sit here and keep going about my life.
A lot of people are afraid to sit down because they are afraid of actually looking at where they are in their life and facing that depression feeling. Yeah. And that's why a lot of times, even you know, you hear people like, you know, you hang out with friends as a distraction. You hear people like, oh, I don't hang out with a lot of friends. In some way, and form, you distracting yourself somehow. Yeah. And I'm going to be very blunt. It's people that use weed all day as an escape, or drink every day as an escape, or hang out with a lot of friends, or sleep around. I'm going to be honest. I like to be blunt. Sleep around with a lot of men, sleep around with a lot of women as an escape from them not seeing their true. It's a distraction. What the root is. Problem or their problem. Situation. And we need to stop allowing, I always say, society, social media, to make it seem like we need a lot of friends. We need to always hang out. It's boring if you get home by yourself. I love being by myself. And when I'm by myself, that's when I can create. I can think. I can focus more. I can focus on who Tony is and what Tony actually wants. Yeah. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't know this either. You know, we get mad at a lot of people for betraying us or not being there for us, but how do you expect somebody to be there for you if you're not there for yourself? Yeah. But and that's why I'm like, honestly, like, people be laughing when I be like, you know, in a way, I thank God for COVID. Like, no, I don't thank God for the things that happened, for sure, because people have passed away and sickness, and we still got to deal with it. But that lockdown was needed. Yes, like, when we really sit and think about, like, what COVID was, like, it was a way for God to sit us down, or for us to understand something that He been trying to tell us for a while. Yeah. And, like, for me, when you said, like, people just, I love people, so I just love to be around people. But I didn't realize, like, also, I don't like to be alone. And so it took for it to be COVID for me to realize, like, oh my gosh, like, it's not that I just enjoy being around people, but I feed for that. I feed for it so much that, girl, you don't even know who you are. You're not around them. Like, so I'm like, you know, it took for COVID to happen for me to be like, okay, who am I? What do I like to do? Who am I? And even now, like, I had faced a time where after COVID, when things were opening back up, and I had started to enjoy being by myself, that sometimes I felt bad when I tell people, like, oh, I can't make it, or I don't feel like going here and that. And I'm like, dang, Kia, but that's not who you are. You love to be around people. But it's like, yeah, you do. But now you found a new part of you that you like to be by yourself, to get your creative juice, or to just learn who you are, or connect with God and all different things. And so now I'm to a point where it's like, I may still feel a little bad, but I don't let it beat me up no more. I be like, this is what it is. It's so crazy that you just said that as well. I remember before COVID, back in 2019, I still had the vision of being a makeup artist. But it's so funny because if you ask me why I wanted to be a makeup artist back in the day, I didn't know the reason. Yeah. You know, and now all right. Before we continue our conversation, make sure to follow me on all of my personal social media accounts to stay updated on what I am doing. You can follow me on Instagram at _KiaZ, _KIAAZ. You can follow me on Facebook at Kia Brewer. You can follow me on Snapchat at FabulousKia_4, or you can follow me on TikTok as Zakia Brewer. But make sure that you follow our podcast page as well on Instagram as Zakia Chanel Podcast. Okay, so where do we leave off at? Back in the day, before, like, around, like, 2019, like, I wanted to be a makeup artist. And one of the things I used to ask myself, like, why do you want to be a makeup artist? And I didn't have that answer. I didn't know the answer to why I wanted to be a makeup artist. But now I know that answer. I think I was more so looking at other people's lifestyle. And it's funny because that is not my passion anymore. Like, I literally needed 2020 to really figure out what was my passion, what was my purpose on earth. I went through a lot of stuff when it came to relationships. Not with just, like, intimate relationship, but also with family as well. Where it was a lot of heartbreak. And when I say heartbreak can come in any shape or form, it can be a family heartbreak. Surprisingly, it was a lot of family heartbreak more than anything. And it was only because I finally realized that, hey, some people use COVID in a state of fear. I didn't use COVID in a state of fear. I used COVID to, like, just really get to know who Tony was. And when I really realized who I was, I realized that I didn't have the passion for makeup. Like, if I really had the passion for makeup, my makeup would have been up off the ground. And I started asking myself, like, different questions. Like, well, what do you really want to do? What really catch your interest? And I love talking to people, but at the time, I didn't know how to put myself on that platform to talk to people, to actually educate them. But I didn't know what to talk about either.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to talk, not knowing that from 2019 all the way to 2022, going into 2023, I needed all of those challenges I needed to go through.
So now, what you want to talk about?
Okay, because I needed to build that book, that story, for me to be able to put it in a novel. I call it a novel. So now I'm able to tell people about my experience of what I went through. So now I'm in a situation where I still love the beauty part of it, but I want to do it in a different way, where I'm actually talking about, especially, sorry fellas, our feminine energy. I want to talk to specifically females about our beauty, like our natural beauty. I'm into that now. Like, I'm into a totally different stage in my life. I still want to do clothes, but I want to do more of our culture, melanated culture clothing. Like, I know I have a better idea, but at the time I didn't know that. I just wanted to do it because I'm seeing the girls on Instagram, the girls on Facebook doing it. Cool. This looks cool. It was trendy. It wasn't what I really wanted and what my purpose on this earth was. And that's very important for people to figure that out. If you don't know what your purpose is on earth, you're just going to be lost. You have to, God didn't put us on this earth for no reason. I say that all the time. We all have our individual purpose. The people that you come into in life, that's all for a reason. Either it's for a season or a reason. 9 times out of 10, it's a season and a reason or a reason.
Yeah, and I was just telling them, like, on the last podcast, I'm reading a book, and it talk about more than just, like, your purpose. It talk about, like, your assignment, your gift, your calling, and how it all connects to your purpose. But at the end of the day, you can't just not, because your purpose I don't think nobody fully know their purpose until they pass away. But I feel like you have some connection to your purpose, and that connects to, like, the calling that God has placed you on, or your assignment. Like, okay, this could be an assignment for 2 years. Then that assignment may be over, but in those 2 years, it was connected to your purpose so that you can now do your next assignment. And our gifts come and go in each assignment. But it's so important that people know, like, every part of it, because if you only know one part, it's only going to get you, so far.
If people got to understand, too, a passion is different from your gift.
Exactly.
You can grow a passion. You can look at something like, dang, I'm passionate about that. Like,
and then
it's gone.
Away.
But a gift?
That's God given. That don't go away.
It can't go away.
You might lose your own energy, or, like, your own feel for it, but God not gonna ever let it just disappear.
No,
it came from Him.
It came, and that's what a lot of people gotta understand. Everything that you have, like I tell people this because I actually got this from Steve Harvey. I thank him all the time, even though I have never met him in person. He said something to me that I will always say at every quote whenever I speak to people. Your life, your imagination is a previews of your life coming attractions. That stuck with me.
I like that.
Isn't it catchy?
Yeah, I like that.
What that means to me, and I like to tell people what it means to me and not the definition, what it really means. As soon as he said it, I took it in my own interpretation. Life is a preview of coming. I mean, your imagination is a preview of life coming attraction. What you imagine is your higher self showing you what's already yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's for you. All you need to do is go after it. What do you have? A lot of times we look at a big house. I remember, I like to refer to this too. I remember when I was younger, my dad used to take us to Grosse Pointe around Christmas time.
Because we always talk about
it. He used to take us to Grosse Pointe, and I grew up in the hood, 7 Mile and Mile, little bitty bungalow houses, a single family home. So I've never really seen mansions. I used to see them on TV, MTV Cribs, but never in person. And I remember it was me, my brother, my mom, my dad, and my cousin, and my dad's truck, and we were driving down. I remember exactly which street, Jefferson Avenue. And I remember seeing the river on one side and all these big mansions with all these Christmas lights. And I'm like, oh my God, these homes are absolutely beautiful. But I couldn't get my mind off of it. And guys, I was probably, 6, 7, when I'm looking at this, like, why? I'm not living like this. Like, what am I doing wrong? It was to the point where I was having dreams about it. Like, I would have dreams of being in a big house, imagining myself as an adult, my future self being in a big house. To this day, I still have that vision, okay? Yeah. Not knowing that ever since that day, I was seeing different stuff. I was connected to different people. When I went to Detroit Public Schools, unfortunately, I wasn't around a lot of people that was around that type of stuff. But when I got to Cornerstone, I thank God for my mom and dad put me at Cornerstone, because I was able to be at different internships in different neighborhoods
and see more.
And it exposed me to a lot more. So I always knew, like, dang, I wanted that, but I used to always tell myself, like, dang, I don't know if I'm capable of getting that because of what I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? I base my, like, dang, that's just an imagination. Not knowing that your imaginations are really real. I tell people that you don't think your imagination is just something crazy. Your imaginations are real. That's real.
No, for real. And that I didn't even, honestly, I never even understood imagination until like a few months ago.
Okay.
Like, because my therapist always be like, oh, like, what's your imagination? Or when do you imagine a lot? And I used to be like, girl, what? I am grown. Imagine what? I'm living in real life. I'm trying to tell you what's really going on. You talking about some imagination. Imagine, this is what I imagine, and this is reality.
Okay.
Like, this is what I'm doing. But she's like, no, like, you have to really, like, listen to your imagination. Like, that's a way of God talking to you.
But you got to follow that dream.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized, too. So I realized within those imaginations I would have, but I just thought imaginations were just something crazy. Like, I didn't really believe in my dreams. And that's all faith is. A lot of people ask me, what is faith? Faith is trusting in yourself, trusting that you're going to achieve your dreams, which you imagine. If you don't trust in yourself, anything is possible. The I'm possible is literally in the word impossible. You have to. People don't understand this either. This is another topic, but the English language spelling is really a spell. A lot of people don't know that, but that's another topic. You literally have to break down certain words. Okay.
Yeah. Before you even get into that, I seen that now because I watch Sarah Jakes a lot, and every time like she talks, she be like, and then the Greek definition, and I'm like, why does she always do this? But it's like because that's the real root of like what the word is, and root is the connection.
Okay, you cannot have nothing without a root. Okay, you kill the root of a plant, that plant is dead. You need a foundation. You can't build a house without a foundation. Yeah, and that's literally how life is. So I tell people all the time, like, now I'm in a habit of writing my imaginations down. I screenshot everything. If I see something on my Pinterest, my TikTok, I'm screenshotting, I'm saving it. Because I know if I save it, if I go back to it, it's in the back of my mind. Like, hey, I have something to go towards. Why do I want this? Now I ask myself, too, why do I want it? But this is one thing I stopped doing. Instead of telling myself, like, dang, I can't afford that. I want that BMW, but I can't afford that. I want that BMW. How can I afford that? You have to switch out what you say. How can I get that? What do I got to do to achieve that? Now I know, like, I'm going to have it. Like, I'll look at a car like, I'm going to get that one day. I don't know how, but I'm going to get it one day. Because the moment you say I can't, you literally cutting yourself. Yes, you doubting yourself, you cutting yourself, you limited yourself to what you can possibly, it's impossible, what you can actually achieve. Yeah. So we have to understand too, like life, like I'm going to keep referring at y'all. Y'all hear me say that a couple more times. Life and death is literally in the power of the tongue. What you speak comes to light. What you imagine, first off, you think first and then you speak. When you think negative, you're going to speak negative, it's going to come out negative. You think positive, you speak positive, it's going to come out. What's within has to come out.
Yeah, it's just like that whole habit thing. Like, I can't remember what it is, but like my beautician, she used to always have it up when I was younger, and it talked about like, you know, what you think is what you say is what you do, what you do is become a habit, what habit is your character. And it's like, yes, like it all starts with your mind. So once you tell your mind something, and then it's like from there it's only gonna go downhill if you don't have a positive mindset and positive thoughts about different things. But that's true.
The mind is literally, a lot of people say you think your body parts are the strongest. No, your mind is strong. Your mind is what controls everything else. Yeah. I'm going to get a little personal. I just tell people this. I just had an auntie. I don't want people to feel bad. I'm okay with it. I just had an auntie that passed, okay? and her body was functioning, but her mind was gone. But her body was only functioning because it was on a machine. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Without the mind, nothing else can survive. You need that mind, your mental, to be strong. That's the strongest part of your body. Your mind holds more information than an actual computer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you not only do we have to like feed our body, and when I say feed, I'm not just talking about feeding our actual body,
but feeding your
soul. What you see, what you hear. You have to. I stopped listening to a lot of. I used to love my trap music, but I had to stop listening to it because it was pulling me away from my true destiny. What I really wanted in my life. What I was listening to, I was never going to do that stuff, but it was still hindering me in some type of way, shape, or form.
You don't even understand what you're really saying.
Yep.
But also, even with that, like listen to music or like listen to podcasts or sermons or whatever you choose to do, I feel like you gotta also listen to it when your mind is settled, like when it's calm. Like I had to realize that because I used to be thinking like, oh, I listen to my rap while I'm doing while I'm working out, and not realizing like when I'm working out is when my mind is the most calm, it's the most when I'm like listening in tune with everything in me. So I have to listen to gospel music because that literally shows me everything that's going on or reveals certain things to me. But it took me to have to change like what I was listening to and when I was listening to it. Like,
First
that's
off,
the biggest thing.
It's so funny that you said that because, listen, I would just listen to somebody, I don't know who it was. I'm going to have to tell you. Maybe you can talk about it in your next podcast. But it was somebody that has said that a person, you can tell somebody to read a book, you can show them a video, but if you play a music, a person will listen.
Oh, for real.
A lot of people don't know that we can really heal ourselves, too, just by listening to different frequencies in music as well.
Yeah.
We used to use music back in the day to uplift us to.
I mean, slavery, slavery, like when they were on a plantation, like the way that they communicated was through beat, like through music, through our beat. Like they used to talk about their owners through beat, like, but people don't understand that. Like even the slave owners didn't understand. Like they were literally mimicking them and like talking about them through a whole
vibe
beat.
And dancing.
Like it's something that comes from us. Like it's a root of us. Like you can't get away from it. But that's a whole connection. And that's a whole topic. But, like, even before you even get into it, it's just, like, even when I do with my students, like, I do a whole praise and worship thing. And, like, a lot of people be like, no, they need to read the Bible and stuff. And I'm all for that. I agree with it. I want to teach them scripture. But I know the way I connected to God was through music first because it was something easy. It's caught on. Now I'm singing a song. Now you're realizing what I'm singing. It's a whole Bible verse.
Not even knowing that you repeating the songs, too. A lot of people don't understand this, but songs that could sometimes be affirmations.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
so if you listen to a negative song repeating negative lyrics, you're going to start affirming that, whether you see it or not. You're going to start affirming it. So when you listen to certain music, like certain gospel songs, and I'm glad you said it. Yeah, you're going to, because it's a positive meaning, the message behind it. So now you're affirming it in your life. Not only that, but you start subconsciously believing what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, and so it gets so deep, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, we gotta have a whole. Oh my gosh, because people don't understand the. All right, yes, we gonna have a whole connection. All right, so let me ask you this, because like we talking about like the whole your life and understanding everything about you. So like even like one of the biggest reasons why I even brought you on this podcast is because like I feel like I'm in connection with you like in everything, but like I connect. I look at my friendships now more in like a spiritual realm. So I love connecting and having friendships with people that I can talk to spiritually because that's everything else. Everything else falls after I can connect with you spiritually. And I'm like, me and you, like ever since we know each other, like, I mean, obviously our relationship with like within ourselves and with God have grown and we see more importance now. Because I mean, we were like, talking about God every time. Like,
but now it's like a...
But, yes, like, we have built that relationship. And I'm like, even when I sat here and thought about it, I'm like, I want somebody got on this podcast who can literally explain it without even trying to, like, force anything out of them. And I'm like, I just watch you through life. And I'm like, you are so inspirational. You don't even understand. But, like, you continue to move. It don't matter what's going on in life. It don't matter what's happening around you. Some way, somehow, you find a way to like still go about it. And you know, you may have your times where you cry and nobody even see it and stuff. But some way you still push through. But I just want to know, like, where did they even start from? Like, you know.
It's funny that you say that about spiritually being connected, because I believe that everybody, okay, I do believe it. I don't care what nobody say. Energy can never be destroyed. It can only be transferred, okay?
No, yeah.
For real.
Okay.
You have to understand that we are all connected. This is why you can sometimes be in a room and if somebody has a negative energy, without them even saying anything, you can feel it.
It blows you.
Okay?
Yeah.
We are all connected. I like to refer to the story of Jesus because a lot of people don't understand that the story of Jesus is really talking about our life as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and your Lord and Savior, you accepting Him, the body of Christ, you accepting all of that, okay? The point I'm trying to make is the story about the sacrifices that we have to take in life. You cannot go through life and just expect it to be easy. You need different challenges to uplift you, to move you forward. Mm-hmm. I keep saying, God is inside of us. God is supposed to be our Father. Okay, I'll put it like this. My mother and father are African American descent, or whatever you want to call it, okay? Mm-hmm. That would make me African American descent. So if God is supposed to be a God, I would be His daughter, which would make me a goddess. I always refer to myself as I'm not the Most High. I like to tell people that all the time. There's a difference.
Don't worship me now.
But I do consider myself a goddess because I'm the creator of my own reality. Whatever I imagine, all I have to do is ask for it, and it's going to be received.
Yeah.
You have to understand, like, what I'm trying to say, because I'm going over everywhere. I'm also drinking wine, too, so I'm trying to keep my mind focused. What keeps me going is knowing that, first off, God didn't give me these visions for no reason. That's one thing that keeps me going, because I know at some day in life, I have to physically feel and live in what I was already imagining, because God had already told me that was for me. Yeah. That's one thing for sure. But I have to know, too, that I can create whatever I imagine. I can create whatever. I can go after whatever I want. But you have to keep going. No matter what, it's going to be challenges in life. Jesus went through challenges in life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
All right, y'all. So, as you know, I have my bestie with me, and we are just talking about a lot, y'all. We got a lot to tell y'all. So, thank you for tuning in to part 1. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2, and we'll be back. Hey, don't leave me hanging. Before you leave, make sure that you subscribe to Zakia Chanel Podcast. You can listen to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Or you can go over to Zakia Chanel TV on YouTube to listen and watch the podcast. Looking for someone to host your event, or you want to learn how to start your own podcast, or you need organizing tips, I'm your girl. You can contact me via email. You can also reach out to me via email if you need any advice on anything at Zakia Chanel Podcast at gmail.com. Remember, it starts with you. Be blessed and take care of yourself.